There is a kind of tiredness that no amount of sleep can cure. It does not come from work or effort or physical strain. It comes from the quiet and endless act of pretending, from holding yourself in a shape that does not belong to you, from performing a version of yourself that the world accepts while your true nature waits hidden beneath the surface. Every day you wake up and put on the same invisible mask. You adjust your voice to sound confident. You adjust your posture to look strong. You adjust your behavior to seem responsible. You carry yourself as the person others expect you to be. And although you may do this skillfully, every step of this performance drains you. It takes energy to hold a mask in place. It takes strength to hide your fears. It takes constant pressure to silence your true feelings. Alan Watts often compared this to clenching a fist without realizing it. The tension becomes so familiar that you no longer notice it. Yet the body notices, the mind notices, the spirit notices. Something deep within you grows weaker each time you push aside your real self in order to maintain the image that society demands. Pretending becomes a habit. You smile when you feel nothing. You agree when you want to say no. You continue forward even when your inner world begs you to pause. The world praises you for your discipline and your resilience, but they are applauding a performance. And the performer inside you is exhausted. This constant pretending creates a quiet pressure inside your chest. It is not fear and not sadness, it is the weight of unspoken truth, the weight of all the things you suppress in order to survive. When you live in a way that does not match your inner nature, your entire system begins to resist. The body grows tense. The mind grows restless. The emotions grow muted and distant. You begin to feel like a stranger in your own life. People often believe they are tired because they work too much. But more often they are tired because they have lived too long without authenticity. They have shaped themselves into something acceptable rather than something real. And this unnatural shape requires constant effort to maintain. It is like holding your breath while trying to walk a long distance. The longer you continue, the more unbearable the pressure becomes. True rest is impossible while pretending. Even when you sleep, the mind continues to guard the image. It continues to hold the shape of the mask. It continues to maintain the false identity you carry during the day. This is why you wake up tired and confused. This is why you feel drained even after hours of rest. You are not resting. You are recovering from the weight of your own disguise. Your exhaustion is not a flaw. It is a message. It is your inner self trying to speak. It is the wisdom of your being telling you that authenticity is not optional. It is necessary for life. When you pretend to be someone you are not, you disconnect from the source of your energy. When you live as yourself, energy flows naturally. The moment you begin to let go of the performance, something remarkable happens. Your body relaxes, your mind softens, your breath deepens. You feel a sense of lightness that you have not felt in years. You reconnect with the simple truth of who you are, and in that truth there is a peace that no amount of pretending can ever provide. There is a deep kind of tiredness that comes not from the body but from the mind. A constant weight that sits behind your eyes and refuses to leave. You feel it when you wake up and it follows you through the day. This exhaustion is the result of an inner conflict that never stops. A quiet war between who you are and who you believe you must be. Inside your mind, there is a constant stream of thoughts. They pull you forward and backward at the same time. One part of you wants rest. Another part insists that rest is laziness. One part wants to be free. Another part demands control. One part wants to follow your own path. Another part reminds you of expectations and responsibilities. This creates a tension that never releases, and the tension becomes fatigue. Most people think they are tired because they do too much, but often they are tired because they think too much. Their thoughts battle each other endlessly. Their minds replay past mistakes, imagine future disasters, and judge every moment of the present. This inner noise becomes so familiar that you forget it is noise at all. Yet it consumes your energy in the same way fire consumes wood. Alan Watts often spoke about the mind as a restless monkey that cannot sit still. It jumps from fear to desire, from doubt to hope, from imagination to memory. And the person who identifies with this restless creature becomes restless as well. The mind demands attention every second. It refuses to release control. It refuses to allow silence. It refuses to let life unfold naturally. Inner conflict grows stronger when you resist what life is showing you, when you try to force outcomes, when you fight emotions you do not want to feel, when you argue with reality instead of accepting its flow. Resistance may seem strong, but it drains your strength faster than any physical task could. To resist your own feelings is to fight against the deepest part of your nature, and nothing is more exhausting. You feel tired because you are constantly divided. You wear one face for the world and another for yourself. You say yes while wanting to say no. You hold emotions inside because you fear they will make you weak. You chase goals that do not bring joy. You hold on to memories that continue to hurt you. The mind becomes a battlefield where every thought competes for control, and you are caught in the middle. True rest is impossible in this state. Even when your body lies still, your mind continues its war. It replays conversations. It imagines new problems. It creates fear out of nothing. It refuses to let go. So your sleep is thin and your dreams are heavy. You wake up feeling as if you fought all night, because in truth you did. The real reason you are always tired is because the mind has not learned how to be quiet. It believes that constant effort is necessary for survival. It believes that silence is dangerous. It believes that letting go means losing control. But this is an illusion created by fear. When the mind becomes still, life does not fall apart. It becomes clearer. Peace begins the moment you stop arguing with yourself, the moment you stop chasing thoughts and start observing them, the moment you stop fighting your emotions and allow them to pass through, the moment you trust that life does not need to be controlled in order to unfold. When inner conflict dissolves, energy returns naturally. The mind becomes light. The heart becomes calm. And you discover that you were never tired because of life. You were tired because of the storm inside your own head. There is a kind of tiredness that grows not from effort, but from living in a rhythm that is not your own. The world moves faster each year, and most people try to keep up without ever asking whether this pace is natural for them. They force themselves into schedules and routines that do not fit the shape of their spirit, and the more they ignore their natural rhythm, the more exhausted they become. Every person has a natural flow, a unique timing, a personal pattern of energy. Some people think clearly in the morning, others late at night. Some move slowly and deeply, others quickly and lightly. Some need long periods of silence, others need constant interaction. But society rarely respects these differences. It pushes everyone into the same narrow pattern. Wake up at this time, work at this speed, behave in this manner, and do not question the pace. This creates a quiet and constant suffering. When you move in a rhythm that is not yours, every action feels heavier than it should. Simple tasks drain you. Conversations feel forced. The hours stretch out endlessly. You feel as if you are swimming against a strong current. And the more you push, the more your mind and body begin to resist. Alan Watts often spoke about the natural movement of life, the way rivers flow without effort, the way seasons shift without struggle. Nothing in nature rushes, yet everything is accomplished. A flower does not bloom by force. It opens when the moment is right. A wave does not push itself across the ocean. It rises and falls through a rhythm older than time. But humans forget this wisdom. They try to live through pressure instead of rhythm. When your life no longer fits your nature, your energy becomes scattered. You feel distant from yourself. You wake up already tired. You lose your ability to focus. Your emotions become unpredictable. You feel a constant need to escape, yet you do not know where to go. This is the exhaustion of living out of sync with your true pace. Many people ignore these signs and blame themselves instead. They think something is wrong with their willpower or discipline. They force themselves harder. They judge themselves for feeling weak. They push until their inner world begins to collapse. But the problem is not weakness. The problem is misalignment. You cannot live fully in a rhythm that suffocates your nature. When you slow down enough to notice your true rhythm, a shift begins. You realize that your energy rises and falls in patterns that make sense. You notice the moments when your mind becomes clear. You feel the times when your body wants rest. You sense the activities that nourish you instead of draining you. You begin to see that your exhaustion was not a flaw, but a message. True rest becomes possible only when you stop forcing yourself into a life that does not match your inner world. When you allow yourself to move at the pace that feels natural. When you stop racing against time and begin flowing with it. When you stop measuring your life by the speed of others and begin honoring your own rhythm. In that moment, something inside you relaxes. The weight lifts, the tiredness softens. You feel the return of a quiet strength, not the strength of force, but the strength of alignment. And you realize that life was never meant to be a struggle against yourself. It was meant to be a dance with the rhythm of your own being. There is a moment in every human life when exhaustion becomes more than fatigue. It becomes a message. A quiet signal that you are no longer tired from effort alone, but from resistance, from pushing against your own nature, from fighting thoughts you do not want to think, from holding back emotions you do not want to feel, from forcing yourself to be someone you are not. True rest does not come from sleep. It comes from the end of inner resistance. Most people live in a constant battle with themselves. They argue with their fears. They suppress their sadness. They deny their anger. They pretend that everything is fine, even when their heart feels heavy. This creates a tension that never releases. The body holds it. The mind holds it. You carry this weight into every moment, and it slowly drains you of life. Alan Watts often spoke about the futility of trying to control what naturally arises within you. Thoughts appear on their own. Feelings move like weather. Life unfolds with or without your permission. Yet people try to manage everything through force. They believe that if they tighten their grip enough, they can avoid discomfort. But all they create is deeper exhaustion. True rest begins the moment you stop fighting what already exists, when you allow your thoughts to come and go without chasing them, when you let emotions rise like waves and fall without fear, when you stop pretending to be strong and allow yourself to be human, when you stop demanding perfection from a life that was never meant to be perfect. In that release, the weight inside you begins to dissolve. The struggle ends not when the world becomes peaceful, but when you stop resisting your own experience. You discover that peace is not something you create. It is something you uncover when you drop the habit of fighting yourself, when you soften into the present moment, when you accept that you do not need to control everything in order to live. Most of your tiredness comes from inner tension. You brace yourself against imagined dangers. You hold your breath against future possibilities. You tighten your mind around worries that never become real. This constant preparation for what might happen is the true source of your fatigue. Once you let go of this habit, your energy begins to return naturally. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means trusting the movement of life, trusting that you can handle whatever comes, trusting that you do not need to force your way through every moment. When the mind releases its grip, the body relaxes. When the heart stops resisting, the spirit opens. Rest flows in without effort. In this state, even simple moments become restorative. A breath becomes deeper. A silence becomes warm. A pause becomes meaningful. You feel the return of clarity. You feel a softness spreading through your chest. You feel the presence you lost in years of noise and struggle. True rest begins when you stop being at war with yourself. When you allow your nature to guide you instead of fighting against it. When you accept that life unfolds best when you participate without force. And in that acceptance, you find the rest you have been searching for, not the rest of sleep, but the rest of peace.